we did the Arthur Beterbiev and Roy Jones dinners.
Yes.
Yeah, so we did those dinners and we raised a decent amount of money. So the gentlemen of the Al Madinah Fearon Free Charity, they went out, they were in Tanzania, and they made water wells out for the orphans, bought them a couple bikes so they could go collect water as well, and stuff like that. So
I love that.
So
have you been out there as well to the places that you've helped?
No, I'm going to Uganda this year. Last year I went to Palestine, which was eye-opening, to say the least.
How was that? How long were you there for?
I was there for 10 days, and that was with the Al Madinah 313 charity. I did some things with, we did a big fundraise last year. So Amir Khan helped with that, Hamzat Chamayev. We raised something like £1.8 million. And
what was it like being in Palestine?
You know what's sad to know, like, in this day and age where we are so technologically advanced that our humanitarian skills haven't improved on certain things since, I believe, from the Dark Ages. And I think, like, love's the key, and we have to perpetuate love in everything that we do and show people love. And if we can do that, then we can rectify everything that's negative. Mm-hmm. If we can do that.
Yeah. So you only flew in a few hours ago.
Yep.
Yeah. Was it always a plan to come in for this, or did you get a last minute call?
Last week I was in Jamaica on a kind of pilgrim with one of my best mates, Marlo, who bent my arm and said, "Look, Spence, you need to go to Jamaica when my dad's buried. I've avoided it for 20 years." And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going. And then while I was out there, my good buddy Spencer Brown gives me a phone call and we're having a little chat. And he said, "So you're coming?" I said, "What?" He said, "Like, am I coming to the fight? Are you coming?" And fair play, he gets his right-hand Woody to phone me. And they sorted out my flights, my accommodation, and my fight tickets. So, you know what I mean, I'm amazingly grateful for that. So it's all good.
Oh, it's brilliant. So they're calling it the fight card of the century.
And look at that. Sorry, there's one of the best, one of my childhood heroes there, just walking around like Colin McMillan. My childhood hero was Colin McMillan. Do you know what I mean? It was a superb former WBO featherweight champion of the world. And the amount of times he's British Commonwealth champion, and the amount of times that I used to watch that guy, and I even could end up start talking like Colin sometimes as well. And like, it was just one of them.
You know, it's mad as well. We were talking about Crawford earlier, and he just walks past us, and we're like, "What? It's just you're in this bubble out here where obviously everyone's just together."
All the great fighters and everybody else, and it's amazing what's being done in Saudi Arabia, and it is the blueprint of what we're seeing here. I would say dates back to 1974, the Rumble in the Jungle, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman. But we get Muhammad Ali, George Foreman seemingly every other month with Turkey Al Sheikh, and that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Can't knock that, can you?
What changes it the most is the depth of the card. Like, back then you'd have a great main event, but you wouldn't, like, if you told me the undercard of Thriller and Manila or Rumble in the Jungle, you probably might be able to tell me one person. Like Larry Holmes was on the
undercard.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. And it's your Ali's sparring partner for that as well.
Yeah. But obviously with this, we've got 3 world title fights. Actually, no, 2 now because of Dubois. But you know, you got all these world title fights, interim title fights. You got 14 world class fighters tomorrow night. It's just unheard of.
And it's mouth watering and salivating. And you've got to just be grateful that we're here to witness something like this, you know?
Are you team Better BF?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
No, don't get twisted though. I really do like Bivol. Really, I spent a lot of time with him coming up 2 years ago when it was the start of the Riyadh season with Tyson Fury and Ngannou. So I spent a lot of time with Bivol, who's a really nice guy. And I'm not taking nothing away from him, but I'm team Beterbiev because I spent personal time with him and Roy Jones, and he's such a nice man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And if I'm saying he's such a nice man because, like, I'm team Anthony Yard, and he actually come up he came up victorious against Anthony Yard. But yeah, it was nice.
What's it like being around them? Because a lot of people, obviously, they see them on telly, they see them fight. When you're up close and personal and you're spending a lot of time with Better BF and Roy Jones Jr., what's it like with them? What are they like as people? Are they...
Well, you know what? I've been really fortunate. Like, I know a lot of people, right? So
I bet you got some good stories as well.
I've got loads. You know what I mean? Some that I can't tell on camera. But I'm saying, like, I would say, like, Better Biv is a very, very humble man, right? Very humble man. And his humility is something that you can take from, you know? You really can. He's very, very humble.
Yeah.
Right? He's not outlandish, not cocky, he's not boastful. Do you know what I mean? And he's a deeply spiritual person. And I think he's also a credit to his religion. So yeah.
Has that rubbed off on you at all? Being around those people, does it sort of make you?
I tell you one thing, that when we was on the tour, Roy Jones said something. It's like he studied nature. He studied nature to understand God. You know what I mean? Because if you believe that God is the orchestrator of nature, all you got to do is look at his handiwork to understand God. And yeah, like, it was very touching to be around those guys, because, like, we got to pray together. Roy Jones being Christian, Betty being Muslim, but we prayed together and stuff. And it was like, and I think everybody who was involved at that time took away something from it, you know?
That's brilliant. Yeah, and one thing I've noticed here, it's my third time being in Saudi, but the religion makes everybody here just so grounded and friendly and open, and it's safe. I feel it's probably like one of the safest countries I've ever been to.
It is very, very safe out here. And I would say the nice thing about being in somewhere like Saudi Arabia is how people respond to each other. That's the nicest thing. And I've been, like, here, like, Riyadh's like a kind of built up area. You know what I mean? I've been fortunate. I've got a kid who plays for Al Aruba football team, Brad Young. Fair play to me, scored last week as well. So I got, like, you saw for OYS Sports Management, and so, and like, when out there, you're kind of out in the sticks part, but just how the camaraderie that I get, and it's really, really nice. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that even just in the boxing world. Like, as soon as you meet another fellow boxing fan alone, like, you've just got that bond with somebody that it's quite hard to get for some adults that don't have anything else going for them. Yeah,
very true. And then we also got to be really, really grateful that we are having things like this, or things do happen like this. You've got to be really grateful of it, you know?
So I just want to talk a bit about the undercard.
Okay.
It is so stacked. First of all, Callum Smith taking on Joshua Buatsi. Obviously, I don't want to ask too much on your opinions on him, because I'm sure you love both guys.
I do.
Yeah, I think most people do.
I do. You know what? But I'm very close to Joshua Buatsi, because he literally lives down the road. Originally, he used to live down the road from where I was living, so I'd see it quite regularly. He's a very respectful human being. But in the same thing, so is Mr. Smith. I know all of the Smith family. So, you know what I mean, I've known Callum from when he was a little baby. So, you know, I mean, I've got a lot of time for the Smith family. So it's one of those fights, but this could be a potential banana skin for Joshua Buatsi. Seriously, because Callum has come second best, right, against Canelo. No shame in that. And you've come second best to Beterbiev. No shame in that, right? But when you put him with British fighters, trust me. And we also got, look, Joshua Buatsi won a bronze medal at the Olympics. It's 9 years ago, right? Joshua Buatsi is a fantastic fighter. But I think there's been so much that's been expected of Joshua Buatsi, and he's delivered, but he hasn't delivered in spectacular fashion. And we're waiting for him to deliver in spectacular fashion, and maybe tomorrow night could be the night where he does that.
Sometimes it just takes the right opponent.
Yeah, sometimes.
And then next up, so Israel Madrimov taking on Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah.
Madrimov came short in a very close fight with Crawford. And I don't know, like, when you look on paper...
Madrimov's going to win that fight.
I would favour Madrimov just for his movement.
I got Madrimov winning that fight.
But would you say, though, that Ortiz could still have enough power to put a dent in him? Because he took Crawford's best shots.
No, I think that Majimos winning that fight. I'm just going to be real.
And so we've had Bacoli step in last week. We've had obviously some crazy stuff happen the last few days. Bacoli's coming in, obviously no camp. He looks a bit more overweight than normal because obviously he's not prepped at all. Do you think he's still dangerous for Parker?
He's dangerous at any time because Martin Bacoli is a natural born fighter. And you know, like he's just come straight in from Congo, where you know that he's been eating fufu and stew and all them kind of food, and most probably, you know, but he's a dangerous competitor, and especially he's very good at gauging range. Joseph Parker is a fantastic fighter, right? And I rate the fact that he's lost fights and he's carried on and he's perfecting his skill. And he's not as quick as he used to be. He used to be very, very quick. He used to be a combination puncher. Now we're sitting down more on his punches as well, and he's being more thoughtful with his stuffs, and this makes it a really good fight. I don't care what condition that Martin Bacoli comes into. Yeah, Martin Bacoli could come in at 500 pounds. He's still dangerous because it's Martin Bacoli.
Yeah, and lastly, I just want to talk about Josh Padley saving the day for Shakur so we can still get to see him fight on the weekend. He's got a world title shot out of nowhere. He was working this week doing electrical work, and yeah, before you know it, he's got a call and he's out here.
It's such a blessing, isn't it? Because you know what? After this fight, he's financially secure. You do realise that, right? After this fight, he's financially secure. And one thing we know for certain, he stepped in before. So he's going to go, Josh is going to go and give it his all, but it's a very, very tall order with a fighting genius like Shakur Stevenson. No, I don't think he's going to win, but I think he's won anyway. Not for the fact of the financial rewards that he's getting, that's brilliant, but I think because he won't shame himself. He's going to go and give it something and we're going to be proud. He's going to make us feel proud.
Yeah, definitely. He's got nothing to lose getting in there.
Nothing at all.
Do you think Shakur Stevenson is the best lightweight in the world right now? There's 4 current champions in that division and it's stacked, but would you say he's number 1?
I would say skill-wise he's number 1, right? But he hasn't had any big performance right now. But I'm saying skill-wise, he could beat every single one. He could beat Tank. There's talk like he's not looking at fighting Keyshawn Davis, right?
No.
Because they're pals, right?
Yeah.
And it's understandable, right? But I would say that potentially he is, right? Because if you just go and ask me who's the best, I would say that he's the best because of I know the stuff that he can do and I've seen the stuff that he could do, right? But, you know, the game's the game, man.
Yeah. And if Lomachenko came back, do you think he's capable of still beating these guys, or do you think he's past it?
No, I think he's past it, but because when you're a reflexology fighter and he fights on reflexes, then it's very hard. As you get older, the reflexes start to dullen. But he's superb. He's a great fighter. He does fantastic things. He's a great. Come on, let's call it as it is.
Yeah. One more thing. So you've got Chris Eubank Jr. taking on Conor Benn.
Yep.
After this, that's pretty much going to be the talk of everybody. They've got 3 press conferences around the UK. How do you see that fight going? And do you think that weight advantage is?
I see Conor Benn knocking out Chris Eubank Jr. That's what I see. And don't ask me why. Because really and truly, when things are foregone conclusions, they're never foregone. Until they really are foregone. So, yeah.
And there's a lot of people with their opinions on the weight clause, right? The rehydration clause.
I'm not worried about the rehydration clause or anything else. I just know at the time of when Chris Eubank was born, the rivalry with him and with his dad and Nigel Benn wasn't deeply insipid in his father's genes. At the time of Nigel Benn wife conceiving Conor, the hatred was deep rooted in Nigel Benn and it's been passed on to the son. And people think, well, that doesn't win fights and the size and this and that. I'm telling you that there's a different kind of spite or somebody willing to go the extra mile because of that hatred. Otherwise, Chris Eubank Jr. will soundly outpoint him. But I just think I could see something crazy like that happening.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for your time.
Nah, man, keep up everything. Fortress Boxing, you know what time of day it is. Thank you for having me on the show, yeah?
I appreciate you, mate. Cheers.
Love my bro.